Hey everybody, it's Jason McLaren with the Leadership Loading Podcast, and today my guest is Stacey Hall. Stacey has extensive experience as a podcast host and guest. I'm glad for her to be here today, and she's featured as a columnist in the Network Marketing Magazine. Her thought pieces have also appeared in Authority Magazine, Sales and Marketing Magazines, CEO World Magazine, and she's been spotlighted on the National Association of Sales and Professionals website. She's coached thousands of entrepreneurs on how to attract sales, satisfaction, and success. So she's a best-selling author and a TEDx presenter, one of my bucket list items. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about that. And then a leading social media marketing expert. She's also the founder of Success with Stacey Hall and the groundbreaking social media training program that goes with that. So it's called Go for Yes. She's helped thousands of people, obviously, with all these resources. And so we just want to welcome her to the show. Welcome to the show, Stacey.
It is really an honor to be here in your studio. Thank you so much.
Yeah. In the virtual studio, the Leadership Loading Podcast.
Yeah, the virtual still. I'm here with you, and I'm very honored that I was asked to be.
Yeah, Stacey was supposed to be with us a couple of weeks ago, and here in Dallas area, we had a major storm, winter storm that messed up all the traffic and internet, and so we weren't able to do it. But she's with us today. Once again, thanks, Stacey. So how did you get into being a coach and kind of going from there, and we can talk about how that can help some of our listeners.
Well, long story very short, I'm just going to cut to the chase at the moment. So I worked for major corporations in the marketing departments, and my last job was at the University of Houston as director of membership and marketing for the alumni organization, helping to raise funds. And while I was there, I was asked to volunteer for the Small Business Development Center, and they handed me a big binder of material that I was supposed to teach to small entrepreneurs. This was even before most people were in network marketing. They were insurance brokers, real estate agents, hairstylists. And mostly what they were being taught was how to go get a business loan. Well, most of these folks didn't need business loans. And there was really very little on marketing. And so I got the idea that this was not an area that was being addressed. And I hired a coach, and we worked for 6 months for me to work towards transitioning out of my job. And I made my last job my first client, working on a project for them. And that covered my bills so that I could start to attract in entrepreneurial clients. And I've never looked back. So it's been a number of years, long before the internet came along, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the misconception that you need a lot of money to get your business started, and so people jump and get these loans and kind of just dig a hole basically when they're trying to get going. And it's really about the marketing. There's so many free tools now. And social media is just one of them. They have email listservs like MailChimp and those. If you know how to do those and you learn those things, you can market yourself effectively and get ahead of the game and actually build your business for little to no money, and start getting your clients rolling in before you start having to actually spend that money. Is that, you concur with that?
I completely concur. And there's many more than what you mentioned. I mean, being able to speak on platforms for free or to pay a little bit to be able to get exposure, to be on podcasts is the easiest free way to be able to get your message out there. And there's just so many others. And I say that what I do is I transform entrepreneurs into wisdompreneurs, being able to monetize their message so that they can actually make money right away, because it's all here. Like, we don't need to open up a storefront. We don't need to invest money in fancy smancy tools when there's podcasts that we could immediately go on and offer valuable information, and people would know about us. And that was not available 25 years ago.
Yeah, even I'd say 15 years ago, when I was getting out of the military and started trying to find a job, nothing I could do with my military career was knowledge based. It was all in person. I had to actually go and do the labor or do whatever it was. Now I've got so much in my brain that I do, like you said, I go on podcasts. I have, Go Heroes has this podcast that we try to get this information out to people. And, it's all just knowledge-based information. So with that, I kind of want to go down two paths. So let's talk about the TEDx, because like I said, that's a bucket list of mine. I've done a lot of research on, how to get on TEDx's, and I follow a bunch of them on Instagram for waiting for their calls for speakers. You know, I guess what would be your tips for someone trying to do that?
To get on a stage, or specifically TEDx, because they're slightly different.
Yeah, well, explain it, I guess, to me.
Okay. TEDx is unique in that you're not supposed to sell anything. You're only, TED stands for technology, education, and I can't think of the D right now. Please forgive me. But the idea of TED is that you have an idea that maybe someone else has never thought about before. Like you see a different perspective or a new way of exploring something. That's what gets you into a TED Talk. And TEDx is chapters that get a license from the main TED to be able to host more regional, local, or idea specific types of TEDx talks. And you can find out about all of these for free by going to TED.com, and all the information's there. You can find chapters that are going to be hosting TED Talks and what their topic theme is going to be. So my TED Talk, the one that I've done already, and one I'll tell you the topic I'm going to have coming, I did why it's important to stop shoulding on yourself. Stop putting all the shoulds. All day long, people say they should do this, they have to do that, which is another form of should, right? Well, I did research into what that does to the human brain every time we tell ourselves we should be doing something, and how damaging it is. And that was what my talk was about. My next one's going to be based on my book, which is why we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. Like why we should, I don't like using the word should, but why we would definitely want to stay in our comfort zone, because it's our power zone. So can you see those are like mind bending kind of thoughts, or if you've done research in some way. So that gets you on TED. Other platforms, you can completely talk about your business.
Yeah, and I've seen, like you said, TEDx is more thought leadership, and I think they specifically say that on their call for speakers, that you must have a thought-provoking response to your talk that you're doing. And then like conferences, I do a lot of conferences, and some of them, like you said, they'll let you talk about sell stuff. Some say you can't specifically sell, but you can mention your company.
Yes.
Obviously in your introduction on what you do. So let's transition into that. Selling. I think my weakness is selling. Like I'm the executive director for Go Heroes right here, over here. And I always have to lean on my partners and my counterparts and the directors. I can sell the organization person to person. Like, if I'm at a networking event, I just am not good at it as far as like doing, digital marketing and getting the word out there to other people, selling. So how do we, sell, from our comfort zone, as your book says?
Well, it's funny. Selling is sexy and scary at the same time. Selling is scary and sexy. I'm writing that down. I've never said that before, but at the same time, because nobody really wants to be a salesperson, but everybody wants to make sales. That's the funny part about it. I'm going to give two definitions that are not usually talked about, that put marketing and selling in their right place. So it isn't sales and marketing. It's meant to be marketing and sales. That's the order they go in. Marketing is nothing more and nothing less than building relationships. Have to build relationships. You have to know who your ideal audience is and go meet those people. If you don't have money to do it through ads, then you have to do it personally through social media, which is so much easier than it used to be before we had social media. But we have to build relationship before we ever talk about whatever it is we want to sell. They have to know us. They have to like us, just like in any friendship. and they have to get to trust us. Now, sometimes that can happen in one conversation. Sometimes it takes a few more. Now, the definition of selling is simply the exchange of money for something. Selling is not the communication part of building the relationship. That's marketing. So in my book, I talk about how to stay in your comfort zone in order to be able to have communication, marketing, relationship with the people who are the right connection for you. And then I also talk about how to make it easy to exchange what you have when they ask you for it. See, selling is supposed to be that easy. They're supposed to ask you for what you have. We're not supposed to have to shove it in their face.
Yeah, I think that was one of the problems when we started Go Heroes was like, well, we don't sell anything. We're a nonprofit. We provide these free services for veterans and first responders. And then we kind of had to pivot from there because we didn't have anything to sell. Everything was free. And so,
no, but you did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You had an exchange. Yeah. If you were asking for donations, then those donations, you wanted them to offer donations to you in exchange for those donations being given in a particular way. And so that's why I'm saying if we take that selling concept the old way out, then we would all understand that we sell all day long. All of us are exchanging information. So information in exchange for information, money exchanged for information, do good deeds exchanged for donations. There's always exchanges going on, and that's the process of selling.
That makes sense. And so if you were having one of your do you coach clients directly? I know you have a coaching.
Yes.
So if you're coaching one of your people and you had 1 minute, say, go ahead.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, say you had your client and maybe it's your last meeting and you guys are riding the elevator down and you have 1 minute to give them one tip to go forward and prosper. What would it be?
I would say make a list of why you sell what you sell and how you got involved with it in the first place, why you got involved with it in the first place, because why you got involved with it, why you're selling it is the exact model of who your ideal audience would be. And those are the people you want to go make a relationship with. And then, of course, I teach how to make those relationships.
That's awesome. All right. So, Stacey, how can we get a hold of you if we wanted to find you on social media or all the sites?
Well, I know you're going to drop the link, but for folks listening, my website is really easy. It's Stacey, Stacey, Ann Hall, HALL.com, StaceyAnnHall.com. You can get a free course from me called 8 Steps to a Sale there. You can find me on all my social media sites. Soon, when this is aired, it will be on my website as well, so you can listen to it again. That's the best way to reach me.
Awesome. Like you said, we'll drop all those links in the comments and the post below, and you can click on those and get to those resources. Well, Stacey, thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, it's been a real joy. Thank you for all that you're doing to improve our world in so many ways.
There are thousands of leadership and management podcasts to choose from. We're glad you chose the Leadership Loading Podcast, a Go Heroes production. If you'd like to support Go Heroes Inc., visit www.goheroes.org. And with that, it's time to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Let's all grow together. Thanks for listening to the Leadership Loading Podcast. Leadership Inspired.